Welcome, dear sister. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum, family. I'm your sister Mariam Alima Warith Muhammad. First, open up in the name of Allah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Ashahadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashahadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I'm quite excited because it's it's so beautiful to be part of a network that you can just bring all of your family together, because it's not just me by myself, but my beautiful sister Anecqua, and her beautiful husband, Brother Michael Jamal Hassan Muhammad of the Farrakhan generation are with us as well. And I'll be introducing them properly by reading their bio. So may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, alhamdulillah. Brother Michael and his beloved wife, Sister Anecqua Muhammad, are two knowers of the Mahdi, the Christ, and the Messiah that simply went out into the unknown to uncover that which the Messiah guided us along with the rest of the nation of Islam to receive. We are not special in any way. We simply lined our desires up with the guidance of the Messiah to the best of our abilities, and in doing such, we became the recipients of one of Allah's promises, which are the acreages that we own. Alhamdulillah. We are servants of Allah and His people and students in this most greatest class in the universe of becoming a God in the God. We are simply striving students, just like all the other students in this nation of Islam, and we seek to serve all of you within it. For what is ours is yours. All that we have belongs to the Christ, the Messiah, and their nation of Islam. Alhamdulillah, Brother Michael Muhammad.
Welcome, Brother Michael and Sister Anecqua. How are y'all doing today?
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. All right. So y'all see, it's so nice we have to do it twice. So we got two guests on here tonight, and two husband and wife guests. So we're doing it a little different. So allow me, if I would, to be able to also read the bio of our dear brother and sister at this time, Brother Michael Shabazz and his wife's Sister Regina. Brother Michael Shabazz and his wife, Sister Regina, are the CEOs of Team Bless Realtors, a team of realtors responsible for helping hundreds of families achieve the fundamental necessities of home ownership. Team Bless Realtor is focused on improving the conditions of our community and creating a safe and decent community by investing in real estate. Praise be to Allah. In addition to licensed realtors, our dear Sister Regina is also certified in culinary arts and is a registered nurse for over 20 years. Brother Michael is a former mathematics teacher, currently a board member of Legacy Preparatory Middle School, and also a brother of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. Is that right? Okay.
Kappa Alpha Psi, yes, sir.
Kappa Alpha Psi. All right. As a member of the Nation of Islam, Brother Michael is the NOI real estate consultant of the 7th region, right here in Florida. Wow. And also the student secretary of Muhammad Mosque number 47 in Tampa, Florida. Brother Michael Shabazz and Sister Regina have been together for 26 short years and have two sons. Wow. Named Todd, 24, and also Elijah, which I had the pleasure of meeting his whole family. Beautiful representations of themselves. Great to have y'all on there, brother and sister.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. All right, y'all ready? Y'all ain't nervous, right? Y'all at home, right?
No, we nervous.
Praise be to Allah. To our listening audience, as you're tuning in, any questions that you have, feel free to put it in through Facebook, through YouTube, so we can also ask the questions for our guests today. All right. As customary, we would like to start it off with the sister. Allow our dear Sister Mariam.
Alhamdulillah.
Ahead,
Thankfully, I'm prepared. So with the title of this segment this evening, The Science of Business, Good Homes and Land Ownership, I wanted to parse at least those two major words, science and business, and came up with a sentence that I believe will help facilitate some of what my questions are. So the sentence goes, the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the activity in which we should be engaged in and our major concern. So yes.
Yeah.
the business of owning good homes and land ownership is our most critical concern, because in Message to the Black Man, that's exactly where I'm going. Page 224 of Message to the Black Man, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad states, we cannot be successful in the house of our enemies. We should be in a house. We should be in our own house. That which is other than our house is for those who are other than our own. Our own is unlimited physically and spiritually. And I'm thankful to Allah that He guided me to that this evening, because I recently had a conversation with, and this is to both of you, so either one of you can take the question when I pose it. I was talking to a young man last night, I believe, who said that we as Black people do not own this country. No, we don't own it. We don't own it, but we do own it. And so to that, because he couldn't grasp the concept of us not leaving here to take ownership, because we know that it is ours. So I wanted to ask, what would be a way that you would broach that statement in efforts to show them that the opposite of that is true, that this is our land and we should own some of it right here, right now? It's to anyone. It's either.
Brother Michael, you wanna?
Which Michael which
either or.
Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Mike Poland, any of the Mikes. Y'all just come with it, all the sisters. Any one of y'all.
Okay,
Michael, you wanna take that?
You
first?
You first, Brother Michael J.
Me first. Oh boy. So there's a scripture in the Bible. It's Genesis 13:14 through 17. And it goes like this. After Lot had gone, the Lord said to Abraham, look as far as you can see in every direction, north and south, east and west. I am giving all this land as far as you can see to you and your descendants as a permanent possession. So your question was, is this land ours? Is that basically your question?
And how to enlighten those who think otherwise.
Well, if someone thinks that after 400 years of tilling the land and after 400 years of cultivating the land is not enough for us to have some of the land for ourselves, then maybe this land ain't for them. But for us who understand, when you put such investment into something that came out of the creative mind, see, land is a science. It's a technology that God created from the very beginning. And I said this before, that technology of placing a seed into the earth, that earth being what it does and doing what it does and making that seed to turn by the light of the sun, penetrating that seed, causing that seed to germinate. Then the seed rotates, roots into the ground and springs up something that you can see. That once that which has grown to a maturity size, that it bears fruit for you to benefit from it, that's technology. You put something in a microwave and you expect for it to come out warm. Technology. You pick up the phone and you call a number, you expect someone to answer. Technology. But the enemy turns us away from this most natural and most greatest technology because he himself, or the enemy himself, can't control that. The only way he can control it is by turning us away from it, all while he's using the land to benefit himself. So in my humble understanding, the land is ours. It belongs to us because it would not be as cultivated as it is if it did not come out of the mind of the gods who had it before we fell asleep. The reason why it is what it is, because even in our sleep, as slaves under the slave master's rulership, we was woke enough to cultivate the land that they have a whole world built on it. And that was out of sleep. Now that we waking up, what could we do with the land once we take it back for ourselves and eliminate the slave master and his whole thinking out of the equation? Now, what can the land do for a people that it loves more?
Come on.
It loves us. And the only reason why the world is going through the calamity that is going through of not being able to bear fruit, and I've watched it right here in our own area, crops being burned several times in 1 year. Whole corn crops growing to maturity, growing no corn. Whole grapevines growing to maturity, growing no grapes. But they looked on this land, and some of the neighbors said, we can't grow anything on our property. This is truth. To the point, one of our neighbors wanted to use our land to grow pumpkins and corn and his produce because his property wasn't seeming to do it. And he lives right across the street.
Wow.
Across the street. So the womb that is the earth recognizes its seed. It recognizes its family. And in that, it's saying, I know when to give and when not to give. I can give and I can also take it away. So there is some that are experiencing drought, waiting for us, the children of God, to recognize that this planet belongs to us and it's subservient to us. So it's waiting for us to wake up and say, hey, baby, I'm sorry. It's been a long time. I'm back now. And what would the earth do? It would bring out all the things that it has in it. The minister said one time, he said, this earth is yearning to give to us what it has on the inside. It has the ability to give to us what we want at once. But we don't call on it. We don't have enough pull on it because we don't have faith that it belongs to us in the first place. But once we have faith and recognize that this earth is not just a globe sitting up in the sky, it's family. It's literally alive. It's our blood. It's our flesh. It's our family. It's looking for us to think about it once again. And once we do that, things will happen in our favor. And also it would happen in avengement to those who have done things to us that was wicked. So what we're seeing right now is a drought to those who deserves a drought, and a time of reflection for those of us who need to understand that this earth is ours and the earth is ready to be claimed again. This time, it wants a marriage that will be eternal and not a divorce no more. It's looking for a real love this time. True love.
I concur.
Is that okay? Praise to Allah.
Wow, praise be to Allah. You can tell he's a student in the ministry, right?
Oh, praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. All right, Team Bless, what y'all have on that side?
Well, in understanding why the land belongs to us, it does because the blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors soaks this land. So in that sense, it belongs to us. Yes. It is our birthright, this planet. Yeah. In that sense, it does belong to us. But we must master the science and the business, the science of how to cultivate the land. But before we do that, the business side of how do we obtain ownership of it, right? How do we obtain what's the business? The Honorable Mr. Farrakhan says that business is warfare, right? So how do we go about the warfare or the business of obtaining the land so that we can go about studying the science and putting into action the science of how to pull from it benefit while we live, right? So that's what plain wisdom says. Benefit while we live using our mathematical theology, right? That is luxury, money, good homes, and friendship in all walks of life. So, and that's what we're going to get into tonight, right? The science, right? In the business, the science and the business.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about land, right?
Yes.
And a couple of other goodies too.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. You mentioned about the business aspect. I'm coming to the wives on this one. All right. I want to ask the wife, like, what is it like? You know, you're already living at home with your husband. You see him all the time. But now you have a business with your husband. Your own land, you're helping others in the business. How is that working out? Tell me the benefit of that and the trials also of, you know, that your spouse is also your business partner in that sense. I can start with you, Sister Regina, then I come over to Sister Anecqua, if y'all don't mind.
Okay. This is a true story. When we both started our business in real estate back in 2014, 2015, we started with the right company that trained us properly. And we took that knowledge and we just took off. And it was almost competitive. I remember door knocking, 2:00 in the afternoon, 95 degrees out. And he was like, no, I don't feel like going. I'm like, all right, you a punk. I'm going. The competitiveness drove him to get up and door knock in our own neighborhood. And then it became a competition. You go on that side, see how many names you get. I'll go on this side. Right. So then it fed into ego. It fed into ego where the competition initially was healthy, but then it was almost a detriment. Once we became under contract, it was almost like too competitive to almost like not sabotage one another, but
we were fighting.
We had very different views on, you know, how we may want to get a deal done. Not sure if you're familiar with something that we still use to this day. And it's a psychological test. It gives you random questions. And by the score, it will categorize you on what type of personality your client is going to be. The DISC test, DISC. So depending upon the number, you're going to be a high-driven person, which is the D. The social person is an I. The S person is the compassionate, nurturing, motherly type. And then you have the C, which is the super analytical. So, you know, Brother Michael is more of a D. I'm an I and an S. So I always care and I'm very passionate about how people feel, and the delivery for how we may conduct our business is different. But at the end, everybody still has all of those components in their personality to be able to, you know, navigate to help to get the deal to the table.
Right.
So, you know, we learn to kind of like know how much to help one another without getting in each other's way and being respectful of one another's business. So sometimes it's more like separate clients. But then again, if he's out of town, then I can pick up the ball and take his clients out and vice versa. But it's always respectful of, okay, this is what your client said. You know, I know you don't want me to bring them to this builder or bring them to this neighborhood, even though I think it may be a good fit. But where would you like me to take this from here, since you're working or you're at a conference or whatever? So, you know, you learn to conduct your business in a cohesive manner, even though our views may be different. It's also very good to have different views, because there are plenty of times where I've had clients where they have just drained me down to the last bit of, you know, hydration and blood and sweat that I have, that I just cannot mentally deal with them, where he was like, you know what, let me pick up from here, and vice versa. And we end up still closing the deal. So, you know, back to the point of how we conduct our business. We did start, you know, competitive and almost like crossing each other's paths. And then it comes to a point where you set ground rules that each one of us respects. Right. So I hope that answers your question without too lengthy.
Right. No, that was beautiful, Sister Regina. I thank you for the journey you took us to with the two of y'all, you know, because this is insight for those that's listening and tuning in. Sometimes we just think it don't work. You know, we think it can be like, you know, how you could be cool with somebody until you live with them. Roommates, and you'd be like, Lord, I ain't know, you know. So now to leave home and have to work with them, you'd be like, hold on, we was good as a marriage. You could be good as marriage partner, but business partner is a different thing. Yes, so, you know, to see about the journey, you know, y'all taking us through the trials and also, you know, the ups and downs, the roller coasters, and how that journey, we sure appreciate it. We'd like to hear from you also, our dear sister Nico, at the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I agree with a lot of what Sister Regina was just saying. It's just so important to be humble.
Yes.
Knowing that we are two individuals and we have different likes, different dislikes, different, you know, quirks about different things. And when you're working together, or when, you know, we're working together, I know that I'm very kind of like, okay, I like to pace myself.
Yeah.
I'm very, you know, in my mind, I like the Zen moments, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing this, and I'm very quiet. My husband he's very energetic, and he's, you know, he's a little bit loud, you know, he's moving around. I hear everything. And because we're in the same space, a lot of times it's just like, okay, there's nothing going on. There's nothing wrong. I have to say it in my mind, because, you know, that can, you know, it can make a person a little bit anxious, but I know it's all in us, you know, the activity of doing what we need to do together, right? We're working together, but working in the same space, it's kind of like having your own office, and you have everything set up all nice and neat, and then you get someone to move in your office, and they shift everything around. So it's just a little bit of like, okay, what's going on here? Yeah. So when we first moved to this property, there were so many beautiful things that we got to experience together. And just in that mode, like initially, we were never farmers. We decided to, you know, do animals together and raise animals and cows and chickens and goats, and the energy of him pulling all of that in, I had to kind of suppress my inner, like, I need everything to fall in line. But I understood the benefit of everything that my husband was kind of, you know, pushing me into, leading me into, but he never pushed me. Right. It was just something, he's like, okay, we need to do this. And I had an understanding. I'm like, yes, we absolutely do. Going into it, you don't necessarily know what it's going to look like. True. Doing it that way, but I'm a kind of, you know, go with the flow, as long as it's, you know, as long as I can kind of, I guess, ease my way into it, I can be accepting of a lot of things. We had cows in the car. We had goats in the car.
Wow. That wasn't my idea. That was her idea.
You know, it's cost effective.
Right.
You know, famine is coming. It's the pandemic. Right. Okay, this is logical. We can clean this thing on out. It's an hour ride. Why would we spend an extra few $100s? My husband would do that though. He will spend the extra money. For me, I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. No, that doesn't make sense. This money, it can go towards something else. So I'll be accepting of them in the car. We just need to clean this thing. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
But then also with the business aspect, you have to understand that we both have different roles. We have different things that we like in particular things. Like if I want to garden, he might not necessarily want to garden, but he doesn't mind building, like, you know, doing the handiwork of maybe building the fence around the garden. He's not going to be in dirt. That's going to be me. But if I have that in my mind that he's going to be in the dirt and he's not, now I'm looking, you know, and waiting for something that I know, because I know my husband, I know that's not his realm. I know he is the you know, the builder. I'm the, you know, the Zen. If I put my hands in the dirt, I'm putting, you know, seeds in the ground. I can wait for it to come up. Yeah. He's in motion. He has to be constantly in motion. Like, this is taking too long. What's going on over here? It's not. When do we put those seeds in? When are they coming up? That kind of thing. But he's already on the next phase of whatever, while I'm maintaining the ground floor.
That's right.
So like Sister Regina was saying, you just have to know your roles and just kind of fill in for one another where, one may lack that discipline in that area and the other may lack that kind of energy and that drive that it takes to keep jumping into the next thing. Because if we didn't match up together in that way, I wouldn't be pushed into trying to understanding a different level of myself, as well as him not seeing the success in the things that he's kind of moved past from, but are still there. And it's like, oh, wow, that did work out.
Yeah.
Wow. Praise be to Allah. Absolutely.
I wanted to make the comment of Sister Regina and Brother Michael, and actually you too, Sister Anecqua and Brother Michael. I heard a lot of trust and respect, but even more so of the respect. Well, really both of you, because you both have to trust Brothers Michael and Sister Regina, knowing that, okay, she's going to go out and do what I need and what I respectfully to me and how I want to treat my clients, and not do what she wants to do, and vice versa. And I thought that was beautiful. And I'm so thankful to Allah that y'all were able to navigate through such a tumultuous, competitive nature and move past it into like unity and working with one another, because it could have quite literally went the opposite. You just never know. It could have just went the opposite. I had the erroneous thought of, I thought that competitiveness was the best route. It was a gear to get y'all going, but y'all have clearly moved past that into just support and respect and love. So I love it.
Come on now.
Yes, man. Real quick, you know a little secret. One of the secret ingredients that any kind of working couple needs. You need good sense of humor. You need to know how to laugh with each other.
Yes.
You can't take yourself too seriously. Otherwise you're constantly gonna bump heads. But I don't know how many times we started the argument and then we end up laughing because we're like, what were we even arguing about?
Just arguing just to win the fight.
It kind of smooths everything over so that we can move forward. So yeah, laughter is very helpful.
Praise be to Allah. That's wonderful, family. I think about, we talking about good homes and also land ownership. We talking about the science of business too. And both, first of all, we'd like to say, I think it's just a great example in both of you as a couple. And, just being business owner, because this is something that we're taught in the nation, of course, to do, that we should try to be business owner. And I know it gives you a lot of, free time to arrange your schedule to do different things, take trips together, enjoy, just I wanted to get into, the helping part of this, like how does it feel? And I go to you first, Brother Michael and Sister Regina, the enjoyment of helping someone to get into their first home, the look on their face, to be like, to get someone past doubt about that. I just, look, I've been in an apartment for 20 years. Now you're telling me, to go and do something else. You know how we is when we walk through the mall and if we got our Samsung and it's an Apple deal, somebody trying to change with, I'm good. We basically don't even want to hear the people out. But now you're helping someone to get out of that apartment, that condo or something where they're paying rent on, to now home ownership. And then you see them make it through that door, close the deal. What is that feeling like? How does that help y'all in the appreciation of seeing your clients and working with them together, and just help making it by God's grace, making it happen for them? Y'all share that as some of those experiences with us in the trials of them getting there, because I know, you're trying to convey, like, look, I'm trying to tell you, like, no, stop there, be doing this and that. Y'all talk about that, please.
There's plenty of stories that we could probably share with you all, because We always pride ourselves on helping the most credit challenged people or the most financially naive person to guide them through the process, because we have so many skilled resources, loan officers and title consultants, as well as, we're always going to protect your assets when it comes to a purchase with our inspectors. They're the greatest in the business. So there's plenty of stories from, I'll share my first one. One of the first ones. So this was a sister that was my charge nurse when I was at St. Joseph's back in 2014, 2015. She was nice enough to give me a chance. She said, I know you're a real estate agent now. I'll give you a chance. I'm already pre-qualified. I'm pre-qualified for $140,000. I need to be in the Tampa area at one of the charter schools. And it was way in Tampa, like off of Bush Boulevard. And so she was convinced by looking at the prices, and this is a lesson to everybody out here too. You can pass it on. So when you go on Zillow and you see something for $50,000, it's usually a condo. You think, oh, I could get a loan for $50,000, but there's some underlying hidden fees that people just don't understand are there. So therefore, let's just say the mortgage on a $50,000 home is $500 a month. You think you can afford that? Do you know that some of the average condo fees out here are $700, $800, $900? That's the reason why the condo fees are so much less than a single family home without the condo fees or HOA or CDD fees or something like that. So this sister was saying, I can afford this. Let me look at this house. I said, no, it's not good for you. She was like, how are you going to tell me no, that I'm the customer? I want to go see this. I said, Gladys, you don't understand. $50,000. First of all, you can't get a mortgage on that. The minimum is about $100,000.
Right.
Your condo fees are going to be $400. I can guarantee with 2 young children, you will not like living there. And they are the most difficult properties to have resale on because of those restrictions, as well as how much the condo fees are. Plus, you're very limited to the amount of money or people that will loan on a condo. So I finally got her into the mindset of, let's look at single family homes. We started looking at single family homes, but in Tampa at the time, she wasn't finding anything that was going to pass the inspections to get a mortgage on. So I said, let's start looking outside of that area. She was kind of reluctant, but I said, well, listen, I'm in this area. Here's some videos. Here's some pictures. Come, just get off exit 240 on 75 South. I was like, don't worry about what city it is. Just come on out here. And she fell in love with the house. And what had happened the weekend before, she had money for her down payment. She found out that her ex-husband physically abused her son. She had to get a $5,000 retainer with her lawyer. So she put things on hold. So I went to my manager and I was like, I know this is a stupid question because I'm a brand new realtor, but there's no way that somebody could get a home for free, basically, right?
Wow.
And she said, yes, there is a loan called the USDA loan. It's 100% financed.
That's right.
And she said, now you already have her interested in going with Lennar. They pay the closing costs. And you're going to get 4% on top instead of just making the average 3%. Still incentive for us. Greater incentive for the client, right?
Yes.
So I said,
Keep it
Gladys,
real. Yes.
see this house. Come see this house. She fell in love. She said, but the house is $154,000 qualify because you were qualifying for a different type of loan, and you were going to have to take 3.5% of your money and put it for your down payment plus pay your closing costs. So that lowers the amount of money that you're going to be able to get financed for. If you have good enough credit with 0% financing and Lennar's paying your closing costs, you're going to qualify for more. She qualified for it. So here we are at the closing table. She was estimated that her mortgage would be, let's just say, $1,100. She was given back her $500 deposit, plus she was told your mortgage is less. We were all sitting at the table crying to know that this single mother of two that was going through a messy divorce, whose father physically abused her, so she would be able to be a homeowner. So she still lives in the house, and she's not too far from us. So that's just one story of the obstacles that people think by themselves without the knowledge of realtor get you through these hurdles. We call it turbulence on the plane. There's a lot of turbulence before you land the plane, but we always land the plane.
That's right.
So,
that's
it is. People always talk about, well, if I didn't use a realtor, then I would save money not using a realtor because you guys are getting commission. That's not true, because the buyers don't pay us. The seller's list price pays us from a buyer's point of view. So, that's just one story. That's like one of the ones that I use as a testimony because I see her today. Now she works at the hospital that I work part-time at. And, she tells me, yeah, we're still there. I love the house. I want to give it up. I can't afford to go anywhere else compared to what deal she got into. And this was only 7 years ago. And now her house that she bought for $154,000 is worth over $300,000.
I love it. Move on. Because Allah put it right into your mind. How does that go about working with the realtor and striving to get a house? How the burden wouldn't be on the buyer, it's on the seller.
The seller. So in this case scenario, Lennar was the seller. So Lennar basically has an agreement with the realtors to give a certain portion to, the buyer that procures the sale. So when it comes to picking a realtor, you as a buyer or you as a seller, I would start first of all with one person that has had a successful sale that very well, that you could take that person's name, do your own research on a Google search, or have a conversation with that realtor and see how much knowledge they have, because not every realtor is the same. Even some of the ones that look like they're more successful, a lot of the times it's all smoke and mirrors, because if you look at these huge teams, right, and you look and you go on Google and you see like 2,000 sales, there's no possible way that one realtor can make 2,000 sales in 1 year. And what it is they have like their whole company team under one person. So they take the credit of every single person under them.
Wow.
So, it's all about the interviewing process. And, if you're going to know or trust them, because they're going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and they're going to have resources in place.
Wow.
So when it comes to doing that research, as well as, just how knowledgeable they are when you ask them certain key questions about, what loan officers do you work with? Do they work with down payment assistance? Do they know about hometown heroes? Do they know about USDA? I could go on and on. So
yes,
that's helpful. That's very helpful. Yes. Well, the audience is loving it. They responded. They love it. So praise God. All right, we'll keep it going.
Well, Yes, sir. I want to get to Sister Wanda Muhammad's question. She asked, what is the difference in buying land versus buying property or a home?
I'll poke that up.
That's Michael.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that is critical to understanding. First of all, when you buy, let me back up. Boy, I'm so full off this question. Sister One, thank you for asking this question. I remember the Honorable Mrs. Farrakhan speaking one time, and he was speaking, he did a speaking engagement, and he basically told the audience that, you know, that we deserve a certain amount of territory, and that you know, we'll come in and we'll cultivate the land. We'll you know what I mean? We'll build the buildings and things of that nature. And he went back and told the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "You did good till you got to that part." Right? As far as recultivating the land, Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "We did that already, brother." Right? And so we need to have the same mind frame when we talk about land, right? As you notice, Brother Michael J. and Sister Anecqua, they didn't just buy raw land, right? They bought land with a home on it.
Yes, sir.
In real estate, we call this improved land, right? So what we need to be getting is what's called improved land. This is land that also has a structure on it, right? For multiple reasons. One, if you're renting and you go out and buy raw land, now you still have to pay your rent and you still have to pay for that land.
Yes.
Okay. Why would you not put those together?
Right.
Right.
Come on.
So if you're renting, you go out and buy land that has a home, which is improved land. Now you can stop renting, move into your home, and then cultivate the land. Right. So we need to definitely be getting improved land. On the financial side of it, when you go out and just buy raw land by itself without a structure on it, you know that most of the times you have to put down 50% to purchase that land. And it's and the loans are very difficult to get.
Wow.
Much more difficult than getting land without a structure on it. Whereas if you get land with a home on it, there's a plethora of different loans you can get. One of them is the USDA loan that we just spoke about, where there's zero down. Right? You also have what's called FHA loan that is 3.5% down. So you're talking about a lot less out-of-pocket money to buy what's called improved land or real estate or a home. Remember, when we say home or real estate, when you look up the definition of real estate, it already implies land. You can't have a home without having land, right? They are together, synchronized. So we always need to keep that in mind when we're talking about land. We need improved land, land with a home on it.
Right. Now, I heard also you was talking about the reference to Brother Michael J. and also his wife. You know, I was thinking about Brother Michael J. about that, you know, in the Supreme Wisdom, it talks about useful land. See? And it talks about the producing land. Right? Yes. And then the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said in Message to the Black Man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan pointed out in an article that he did called Business is Warfare, he talked about how in Message to the Black Man, it said, we must remember that land, without land, there is no production. He talked about how we must be able to extract raw materials from the earth and manufacture them into something useful for ourselves. So can you get into Brother Michael and Sister Anecqua, if you can, about just the usefulness of land, you know, just not buying land itself, of course, but at the same time, the advantage points of taking that land and doing something and producing. You know, when we hear you talking about goats and cows and everything like that, that's a little different than most people when you think about getting a home. You know, what is the usefulness of all of that when you talk about having animals on there And you talked about a little about agriculture earlier. Could you go into a part of that useful and producing land? And a two-part question also, can you go into how do you go about acquiring land at the same time?
Oh.
Yes, I actually just want to start because I definitely want to drop this off with my husband because he was the mind. He was the mind behind purchasing the land.
Mm-hmm.
He was the mind, and I was just pretty much the faith in the thought.
Come on.
Right? Initially, we've said it many times. Initially, as a woman, I didn't grow up in the nation. So in my mind, a home, I just wanted a house.
Yeah.
Right,
I really just wanted a house. I wanted a backyard for my babies to play in. I want somewhere where my family can grow and we can all have our own individual rooms and space, and we can just have something that we own, right? So in my mind, a house, maybe a little, a decent sized backyard, that was acceptable for me.
Yeah.
My husband, growing up with these beautiful teachings, listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan daily, all his life, said, that's not enough.
Wow.
That's not enough. We need more.
Yeah.
Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said we need to buy land. I'm like, okay, land. How much land are we talking about? And we started at, it was something as simple as 1. Then it went to 5. Then it went to 10.
Yeah.
We saw 44 acres and it was like, oh, you know what?
That was mine.
Hey, we can afford all of this?
That's what happened.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So with the mind being able to explain to me what it is that we actually need versus what I desire, what I think I desire, I didn't necessarily know until my husband painted the picture and influenced the change in the desire. And as we started to look and search, I say just not even look and search. It was like a day between a week that the 1 acre, the 5 acres, the 10 acres, that all of that kind of just spiraled into saying, whatever it is that Allah wants us to have, that's what we'll have.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she's right on. Praise be to Allah. But I would say this. She said I was the mind. I wasn't. Yes, ma'am. Please, Sister Shirley, you can. I wasn't the mind. I was the active agent that she was the mind. Whether she knows it or not.
Wow.
Even though she didn't know it, I understood that a woman seeks security.
Yes, sir.
So even though she may have only saw in her mind a house, which is really what I wanted too. We just wanted an acre so that neighbors wouldn't get on our nerves. That's what it came down to. I wanted some space between us and whoever those people is. That was it. Because renting makes you annoyed of neighbors. It doesn't give you the best experience with the community sometimes because you can't control what they do and what their issues is, their dramas, their arguments is all yours. And all of that, I didn't want to do that anymore. But I knew that the land that the teachings was pointing us to was really the security that I knew those teachers was also pointing us to, that the woman would be pleasing with. She may not have to have said that or knew it at first, but I said, okay, I know today she want a house, but tomorrow she's going to want a place for those children to play freely.
Right.
The backyard is nice, but the backyard is still attached to someone else's backyard. I can't control their mind, but I can have better control of securing her in her desires and passions on a property where our limits are much more grander than the backyard house kind of thing. So it was her mind. I pulled out of her nature and just acted on what I wanted. I thought she would be more pleasing with me in the future tense, not so much on just the house. And I'll say this, dear brother, one thing. That property that you all see there,
Come on, tell
was
us.
not easy.
Right.
It came by way of
that.
struggle,
Right.
some strain, but you know, like an EMT. I used to be an EMT in my earlier years because my desire was to be a doctor. So in my younger years, I was an EMT in some hard areas out here in New Jersey. I've seen some things, and one of the things is that EMT does a lot is CPR, resuscitate one that is unconscious or has no breath of their own anymore. So you said something earlier about what does it feel like, the feeling to inspire someone to go after it, of something of their own. Man, that inspiration is just like that scripture. You know, God said, I determined for you out of dust the form of a bird.
That's right.
And breathed into the bird, and the bird became a bird. It became alive. That was inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go into a bird and then all of a sudden, you know, he inspired life. And when you inspire life into someone, you have to continue that. You have to continue inspiration until the result and goal is met. The objective is life.
Right.
So I can't start CPR and stop because I'm tired. Once you start CPR, you have to continue until another one can take your place and finish. Because the danger is starting CPR and stopping. God don't inspire and then stop.
Right.
So he came in and inspired me and my wife. And in the inspiration, we started to see that which we never saw before. The teachings became all of a sudden realer than it was before. This is land. So out of the 196,940,000 square miles of land and water, we get a piece of that land and some of that water. That little bit of pond is some of the water. That little bit of land is some of the land. And it was Allah that saw that we desired the thing, and he guided the inspiration to what he wanted, and that was the result. So how we use it is knowing that he gave it to us, not for us to just enjoy. Oh, we got land. Look, believers, what we have, and too bad for you. No, we had to take that and know that that was the mosque.
Right.
That was the place of refuge. That was the place of worship. That was the place of fun and joy in heaven. So that land was not for us. He didn't inspire us so we can look at it. He inspired us so that we would inspire somebody else and then guide them the way we were guided. And that land had to be for everybody else. If we thought that that land was ours and treated it like it was just a big property for us to just play around on with some four wheels and stuff, we would be out of a house 3 years later. Right now, you wouldn't be talking to us about no property. That's right. Because I would have snatched that right on back. You haven't gotten the inspiration. You didn't get inspired for you to look at it and enjoy it in the midst of a pandemic when everybody is suffering and needs something. You got this so they could have. And you're to guide them so they can have for themselves. And that's what we had to do. So the way we used it was using it for others to be inspired. And once they said, I want, then I said, let's go get it. And that's how we went in and got more property. As soon as somebody said they wanted something, I said, well, let's go find something. And me and another brother and his wife went and bought 16 acres up the road. Then somebody else said, I'm inspired. I said, well, let's go find something else for you. Then me and 3 other families, one of which Brother Michael knows a little bit about, we went out to Arizona and bought 172 acres with 3 other families. So Allah took one so we can secure ourselves, but that was only secure for self if we was going to secure the rest of the family. And that's how we used it. And now out of that usefulness, the producing was really not the land, it was the inspiration in others. It reproduced itself in others. That became something of the real production. You reproduced inspiration.
Praise God.
Praise be to Allah.
Alhamdulillah. Go ahead, dear brother. Praise be to Allah. Thank you for sharing that experience. That is inspiration.
Mhm.
Praise be to Allah. All right, we'll go down there, sister. What's next, sister?
Well, I wasn't sure if we take a break at this time, but I can surely go into my
No,
question.
you could go. Yeah, well, yeah.
Crazy too long. Okay, so I want to marry, and this is to you, Brother Marcus Shabazz and Sister Regina. I kind of want to marry me and Brother Tony's question together.
Okay.
I'm going to ask his question and layer mine atop. So Brother Tony asked, he said, Assalamu alaikum to team blessed realtors, not blessed, blessed, okay. Blessed realtors.
Blessed.
High interest
In the hood, it's called blessed.
Blessed. Oh, blessed. High interest rates, as they are presently, are a major concern for many of us who have the desire to purchase property. What are ways of overcoming this hurdle? Now, because this is my question, I feel like it may be something that can be done to help alleviate these high interest rates. I wanted to ask you all, what are your thoughts on buying units as a group of individuals to live in and then sublet the rest to make passive income, as well as having home stability?
So you got a two-part question.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, as the great philosopher and rapper said, Nas, we are the question and the answer, right? So, Sister Mariam, you actually answered the question with your question. That one ways to offset the high interest rate, which now, I mean, let's it's all perspective as well, right? So if you talk to people that purchased land or a home back in the 1980s, many of them were purchasing at an interest rate of 10% or 12%. When I purchased my first home, it was around 7%. So we kind of have been spoiled with the interest rate at 3%, you know, for so long, over extended period of time. But the high interest rate is tremendously affecting the market right now, tremendously affecting, you know. And basically what it means for those of us that are not that familiar with the interest rate, you know, for instance, just this year, if you bought a $300,000 house in January, your mortgage at that time, an interest rate might have been maybe 4%, 3.5%. You might have paid $2,000 a month for that, right? Depending on the city, taxes, and things of that nature. That same $300,000 house today would cost the same exact house at $300,000, because a higher interest rate at maybe 7% now probably might cost you around $3,000 a month, right? So that's how much interest rate does affect us. Yes. One way to offset that is to buy a multi-family house, right? So with the same single family loan mortgage, you can buy up to 4 units with that loan, right? And therefore you can live in one unit and rent the others. And now your renters are paying your high interest rate, right? One thing that I'll let Regina add on to this that's important to understand, and you know, is that we have to stop, right? Even with the high interest rate, we have to stop renting, okay? Renting does not benefit us at all, right? We are literally giving away your life savings, right? Yes. You know, put it this way. If you're concerned about high interest rate, 7%, well, if you're renting, you're paying 100% interest rate. Okay. Yeah. Yes. If you're renting, you're paying 100% interest rate right now. Right. So we really want to do it and do it expeditiously. We want to just get a starter home. You know, start with what you can afford. That's super important. Sometimes we have the thought in our mind, man, I want to get 100 acres and I want to get a big white fence and a 10,000 square foot house, right? But if we can't afford that, start with a small house, right? And then grow from there. Me and Regina have just recently moved into our new home. It's brand new, built from the ground up. We've been living here about 8 months, but this is our 4th home, right? Our first one was a little 1-bedroom condo in Albany, New York. right? And we had to grow to this position. So that's what I say about interest rate.
Come
Stop
on.
paying 100% interest rate.
Yeah. Brother Michael, you hit us dead in the head when you said that one. Like you paying 100%. You said,
100.
you around here complaining about this percent. You paying 100%. It's like you got a Bentley car and you didn't make it to the payment yet. All you did is paying off interest. You just did it.
That's right. That's right. That's all you're doing is paying interest.
Well,
Wow.
I do have a
You can
question.
also-
Okay, and may you, Sister Regina, with whatever you're about to say, if you may, please, my dear, please speak on how your interest rate changes and how having a USDA loan or a Anecqua or something like that, how that plays into your interest rate and the ability of it being able to change.
So the interest rate, there is like basis points that basically the Federal Reserve, they're the ones that deem how high the interest rate is going to go up or go down to improve the economy. So we all know within the last 2 years, because of COVID, inflation on everything has gone sky high. So the only way to damper that, they did that to stimulate the economy because everybody was so scared to spend. They didn't know, should we purchase anything right now? So with people being so scared, what they did was incentivize people by lowering the interest rates into the 2s and 3s and 4s. And now that it's recovered, the inflation has gone up sky high. So to damper it, the feds have said, well, the only way we can combat that is bringing the interest rates up. So that does cause for people's prices to go down. One's going to go up and one's going down, but what's always going up is rent.
And it's up 40%.
Rent is up 40%.
Across the nation.
Right. And so do you think that they're going to lower the prices of their rent, knowing that people, if they're not taking the opportunity to get a mortgage, it's like blood in the water. They say, well, if people are too scared because the interest rates are too high and they have this lavish idea that they want to have, that perfect first home, then I'm going to keep my rent high, And the other point that I was trying to make to try to damper down or, lessen interest rate is, you're expected to have some money in reserve for your closing costs, your down payment. So if you had, a 640 credit score, when we're talking about qualifications of certain loans, a 640 credit score, and your debt to income ratio, how much you're spending versus bringing in, is below 41%, you can qualify for a lot of these loans. So all this money you can shift. You could take from your 401k. You can take from stocks. You could take from other sources of assets and income to use to buy down your interest rates. Right. So therefore, if you have like a 0% financing for USDA, that means money, you don't have a down payment. Take that 3.5%, 4, 5%, whatever you have available to buy down the interest rate so that it is affordable. And then if you have a multi-unit, then it's double dipping. You're buying down your interest rate, which will fix it, as well as, you have tenants to also pay for the mortgage, plus have, surplus to cash flow.
Praise be to Allah.
Get yourself a good realtor. Don't try to do this. You don't have to do this by yourself. Every real estate transaction is different and unique depending on your personal financial situation and depending on the home or land you want to buy. It is well worth it to get a professional to help you in this process.
Praise be to Allah. I'll direct this question from Sister Wanda to our dear brother and sister Michael, Brother Michael J, and also your wife, Sister Anecqua. Should you finance or buy land in cash, like 2 acres? So if it come to 2 acres, what would be your suggestion? Finance or buy? Try to buy it in cash. What's the major difference in doing it out?
I can only say what we did. I'm not a rich man, so I had to finance, but I understood the market was in distress. So I used that to my advantage. And there's a beautiful thing out there called owner's finance, which you can negotiate directly with this owner. And as long as you understand a little bit about the reality of the market and understand why this owner is trying to sell, you may find that the owner would do things for you, agree to certain things that a bank would never agree to. And for me, that's how we got the other two properties. The other two land wasn't no bank, because I'm sorry for saying it kind of like that, but it wasn't a bank. Why? Because we have an FHA loan with this one. And Brother Michael and Sister Regina would know, you can't, when you just got out of through a loan, you can't immediately go right back into another home purchase. It's a first time buyer situation. So I could not just look, oh, I want that too. I want that too, especially when they damage the credit just going through the process. So the very first property we saw after this one, the 16-acre hay farm, it was on Craigslist. And like I said before in other interviews, we were just looking for hay so that we can feed the animals here. But when I realized that this farm was on Craigslist in the wrong category, I'm looking for hay, and I came across a property that was a hay farm. I thought I was looking at a scam. I said, is this really for sale up the street from my house for $135,000? Wait a minute. So I went up there. Of course, they said, no, we ain't doing no owner finance. We need cash up front right now. This is cash on hand. They wanted cash. They totally was against it. I said, okay, well, I'll get the hay. And somewhere along the line, Allah intervened.
Come on.
Their minds changed. By the time I left this was a phone conversation, but from the time of leaving this house, driving 8 minutes up the road, getting to the man, something in he said this. He said, I don't know what it is about you. You give me a warm and fuzzy feeling. And he said, well, you know what? I think we can entertain the owner finance. How much you thinking about putting down? I said, well, I'm not foolish enough to tell you how much I want to put down. You tell me how much to put down. So charm comes in it. There is some tactic. Brother Michael and Sister Regina cannot be successful in their business unless they have a little bit of tactical influence on people thinking. You have to woo them into this home. Hey, you put furniture inside, make it look beautiful for them so they can see what it looks like with furniture and stuff.
That's
right. And things, right? So just sit on that couch. It feels good, right? That be yours. So that man said 20,000. I said, nope. Ain't got it. That was that. And so he thought about it. He said, well, what you could do? I said, well, I can do it, lower than that. And he said, he said, you come up with a number. And I went out, and that's when I reached out to the other brother and his wife, and 10,000 was the down. But that 10,000 was not what took it off the market. He said, I'll if you give us 1,000, I'll give you, that can go in as a good faith deposit. And we'll take this property off the market with $1,000. I said, what? I said, oh my gosh. I said, Brother Sultan, I give 500, you give 500. This thing is off the market. We come up with 5,000 each. This thing is ours. We came up and agreed on the interest rate, agreed on the length of term. We was able to make this plan fit us. And the same thing for the Arizona property. That was a property that was only $50,000 for 172 acres in St. John's, Arizona. I said, this can't be real. Went out, sold the property, talked to the owner, and they wanted a bigger amount of money, of course, too. I got him down to $500 down. That $500 down was the down payment to take this property into a process for us. And then That 500 got us into the process. And then from there, we started negotiating out the rest of the terms. I said, look, it's 4 of us, 4 families. We don't want to go 8 years, 5 years. We want this now. So how can we eliminate the interest so we can get this property from you in a shorter time? Because if you don't give it to us in a shorter time, you'll be in the process with somebody else for 5 years, and you may not find that they be successful because of the way of the world. And he said, what do you propose? I said, 8 months. He said, it's going to be a lot of months. I said, 8 months. Well, 8 months with $6,000 a month between 4 families, that's not that bad.
Right.
After 8 months, the property was bought and paid for in full, flat, zero interest. So I would say to Sister Wanda, by Allah's permission, do what fits you. If you got cash, buy it. If you need to finance, use tactics, but don't be afraid, because the way the economy is, you'd be surprised that Allah created this. God created this environment right now, not for the ones that have had the land, for us who have not been able to get it because of money, and they're throwing it at us now.
Come on.
Because no one else wants it. We want it and don't really care how we get it. We just don't want to live in the project no more. We don't want to live in the apartment building no more. We want something more, and they're willing to compromise in order to get out of a debt, because their families don't want what they had. Their children don't want it. They want to live in the brownstone, and they own the farm, and the children are like, I don't want to do what mom and dad did. So the parents have all this land that they put all their life work into, and their own children don't want it. So here comes some little young black people, and they're like, hey, we want it. Sure. Here you go. I just want to get out of this debt. And that's how we got what we got. We utilized the understanding of the time, and that understanding the time made us be able to manipulate circumstances to benefit us.
Wow.
Brother, I'm gonna put you on the team, brother. I'm gonna put you on the real estate team, brother. I'm gonna add you to Team Blast Realtors, bro.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Brother Michael, I'm about to taking my state test in about a week, so I'll be able to join you, brother.
Look, I'm a witness bearer of Team Blast. I gotta tell you, they found a great home for my nephew.
Go ahead.
Amongst many of the believers, I mean, it is nice home. But I gotta tell you, Sister Regina and Brother Michael, they live by that example, because their home is a beautiful home. We're speaking of good homes, not just regular houses, but a good home. And it's not good because it's nice, which it is nice, but I'm talking about the characteristics of 2 people that I know.
Go ahead.
And knowing their children. I know their children, and their children follow in that same path. They have those same characteristics. They have that growth mindset, that business mindset, and they're just good people. And I'll mention something else. They're very good pickle play. They play pickleball, and they're very good pickleball players. And they're putting the black community up on pickleball. So none of us in the hood, we didn't grow up on no pickleball. Now Sister Regina and Brother Michael is just getting us all in the pickleball.
Now I gotta Google pickleball.
Yes,
You're gonna love it.
Yes, you do.
It's the #1 growing sport in America.
I love it. I'm addicted. And look, I was hurt too. I was out there playing with them. They done crossed me up and I hurt myself. I sprained my ankle, but I'm still getting back on the court. I want a rematch.
Brother Chad, if it weren't for that twisted ankle, though, we would have been down.
Sister Regina, do you remember after I twisted? I was like, did I score though? Like, did I make it? Okay, well, that's all that counts. Praise God. Beautiful, beautiful family. Oh, man. This is going well. We most definitely appreciate y'all so much in this input. A lot of feedback from the audience, questions still coming in and whatnot. So we're very, very thankful. And it's very inspirational, because we're talking about a hot topic that we need, good homes and land ownership. And it's not expected a lot, especially in the Black community. We shy away from that. We do what's more convenient and easy for us. And sometimes we just think it's so far-fetched, especially with our credit score, especially with our how our bank account set up.
Yeah,
you know, so make it a little rough.
Kevin Hart said, yeah.
My bank account, I don't know. You know, you like it's going to one ear out the other. So if y'all could talk about in brief, Brother Michael and Sister Regina, just some of the do's and don'ts in home ownership, because a lot of times we speculating, we thinking this and that. Just how y'all talked about earlier, a lot of people like, well, we could cut out why get a realtor? You know, if we could cut out them or we could go straight, we could save some money. So if y'all can put us up on some of the do's and don't in home ownership, we would appreciate it.
Sure. I mean, first of all,
start with a realtor. Number one.
Get a realtor. This is why you should have a realtor. This is why. One, remember that your realtors is an independent Black-owned business. When your realtor looks like you and I, you're supporting an independent Black business, right? Regina and I, we don't make any income unless we help people get in homes or sell a home, right? We don't get not 1 cent, right? But also what you have to understand, if you're in the position of you're buying the home, the realtor is paid from the seller, not the buyer, right?
That's
so
right.
You're getting services at no cost if you're buying a home, right? Why would you not have an expert professional in negotiating contracts, finding land, putting the inspector, appraiser together, the title, all these things, right? To help you navigate. If you were going into a court of law, whether you were on the prosecuting side or defending side, wouldn't you get an attorney?
Yes.
Especially if that attorney didn't cost you anything, right? Sure you would,
that's
right? So in the most expensive purchase that you're going to have, what do you spend more on than home and land? You don't spend any more money on any other thing besides getting a home or purchasing land. Why wouldn't you have a professional guide you through the entire process? It only makes sense, right? So this is what a realtor does. This is what a licensed professional does. Takes you step by step through every part of the process until you are a land or homeowner. So I mean that's step one. Now we're gonna talk about some don'ts. This is like the restrictive law of home ownership. Okay.
Okay. Break that down, brother.
These are the things you shouldn't be doing, right?
All right.
So okay, if you want to own a home, don't do these things, right? Don't go out ahead and right before you're about to get your house, finance a car, right? Go get that Bentley or Beamer or whatever, or furniture, any kind of thing.
Nobody buy rights, no errands. Nobody buy rights, no errand, no none of that, right? Don't do none of that, right?
None of that.
Okay, gotcha.
None of that. What happens when you fill out a mortgage application, right? It's like a snapshot of your financial condition. And so you're approved based off that snapshot. If you go out and put something on your credit, you're changing that snapshot of your financial picture, right? For those of us that are business owners, don't write off a whole bunch of stuff, right? Because the lender is going to ask you to see your tax forms. So if you make $100,000 in your business, but you write off $80,000, right?
Like you make $20,000.
It only looks like you make $20,000 a year. That's not enough to afford a mortgage, right? So don't write off a whole bunch of stuff. Never, ever, never, ever, never, ever, never, never. Did I say never? Never put family members or friends on your credit, right? Don't. If your daughter or your son needs a car, right? Don't go out and get their car on your name, okay? Or both of your names. Don't do that, okay? Because what you're doing, you're ruining what's called your debt to income ratio, okay? Which is one of the requirements for a loan. What's called debt to income ratio. Once again, get a realtor. Don't try to do it without a realtor. Why would you? It's free help. Don't change job types. This is very important. If you make your money via W-2, right? You work for an employer, right? Don't switch to a 1099. If you do that, the lender will make you work as a 1099, which is self-employed, for 2 years before you can get a loan, right? It restarts the clock, right? So don't switch around like that. Wow. And don't apply for some, apply or cancel any. Don't apply and don't cancel either. Don't cancel credit lines, right? Don't touch your credit unless you're advised to by a loan officer. So these are some don'ts. You want to go into some do's? Mm-hmm. She wasn't expecting that.
Because most of them are don'ts.
That's right. Alhamdulillah. Praise be to Allah. That's great. Thank you. Praise be to Allah. We'll keep it going. Anything else, Sister Mariam?
Yes, sir. Well, I was looking through the chat, but I'm going to ask this question and then find the other one in the chat. What is the difference between a real estate agent versus a realtor? And is there any difference in working with either or?
So here's an example of both. So, when you go into the builders, whether it be D.R. Horton, Lennar, MI Homes, the people that are sitting behind the desk that are the sales agents, we all, as well as realtors, all have a real estate license, a real estate agent. The difference between them, they are not bound to a higher degree of ethics as the National Association of Realtors. So it's part of a membership, but you're also held to a higher degree of ethics because of the relationships or the standards that you have as a realtor that is part of a national association. So therefore, they represent the builder. They do not have, they are not held to disclose things that will not benefit the buyer. Whereas a realtor has to disclose the good, the bad, or the ugly. So we will do the best to protect our client as a buyer, but we are held accountable if the loan officer or, the seller asks specific questions. We cannot lie about your finances. We will protect you the best that we can, but we are held responsible ethically to be honest. Whereas, a real estate agent just holds a license, but they are not associated with the National Association of Realtors.
They can withhold with information.
They can withhold information.
So specifically work with a realtor for your protection and the buyer's and the seller's protection. Everyone's protected.
Correct. So although any person here, any buyer can walk into a builder. I refer to builders a lot only because there's so many in our immediate area. I know maybe in New Jersey where Brother Michael J. and Sister
in Pennsylvania.
Oh, they're in Pennsylvania because they referred to New Jersey at one point. So, I refer to the builders out in this area specifically because it's every corner out here. So if you go in unrepresented, they're going to fully take advantage of you. It's like, they don't like when a realtor comes in because we will disturb the peace. We will definitely make sure that the builder is well represented and is well protected. So the buyer. So say for instance, here's one example that happened 2 months ago with my client Kim. So Brother Michael went with Kim to do an initial walkthrough of the house because it was newly built. The flooring in the garage was fine. It was perfect. There was no cracks in it. The day I think it was the day of closing. We were walking the site at 10 a.m. I think she was scheduled to close at 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. We get to the garage and there's a crack all the way across the garage. So, and this is another thing that really gets under my skin when you have people of lack of color, shall I say, and of a different gender, a different stature. Don't assume just because I'm a woman of color and that I'm not knowledgeable, and how you think that you can be overbearing and that I am going to be that submissive Asian woman as some people of that color they perceive me. That definitely will, you'll see the other side of me. You'll definitely see the other side. So he's like, well, it's expected that the concrete is going to crack. I said, never in 8 years of my professional career in real estate have I seen this crack happen on the day before closing. That's unacceptable.
Right.
He says, well, yes, it's bound to happen. I said, yes, it's bound to happen after 2 years of settling. You know, and that's something that you guys are warranted to cover. So you need to rectify this. He was like, no, we're not going to do that. I said, well, you know what? At the same time, my client is just fine in her rental. Actually, she was buying this early before her rental was expired. So we can easily just go on to your competitors, DR Horton, right down the street, and get a house that's already built and ready to go, instead of her closing on a house that she waited 4 months for. You know, it's not a problem. So what is it going to be? He was like, well, this is expected to happen. I said, let me ask you something. Would you buy this house with this crack in this floor? He was like, well, yes, I would. I said, well, you know what? I guess you must have lower standards than her and I, because that's unacceptable in our standards. I said, let me make it make more sense to you where you actually care about the situation. You have a really nice F-150 out there. Would you buy a brand new F-150, which I know is probably
Come on.
with a scratch on it, and say that it's acceptable if you bought it brand new off the lot? He said, well, you know what? I actually did, but I found it afterwards. I was like, well, you know what? Again, you must have lower standards and know the worthiness of the money that you worked hard for. On the other hand, she's not going to close on this house. You need to rectify this. So he retracted his words. He said, well, I'm going to have to make a phone call on this. I said, well, we've got time to wait because she's not closing today. He made a phone call and he made it happen where they seamed up the cracks. And now, instead of just seamed, she has the epoxy. The design epoxy. She got the epoxy. Yeah. So it's kind of like, that's a $5,000 upgrade that we fight for our clients, because we know if you go in there, you're going in there unprotected. So
praise the Lord.
Wow.
That's a great story.
Another day. Another day.
My gosh, that man's pride was serious. He just was not.
Regina stayed on him. He didn't give up. Like, you had to put on him.
It was making me so upset. Wow. You know, but it's like going to battle with a bully. You know, they think because you're this big corporation that you can take advantage of people out here that you assume because we're of color that we're unknowledgeable and we are uneducated, and that you have to be desperate for this house. So we're going to fully take advantage. No, it's not like that. I sold her a house for $150,000 more than what it was worth in the summer, and she's got plenty of money to live off of that. So,
That's right. Praise be to Allah.
I need Team Blessed Realtors on my side.
Georgia license.
Right. Our sister Denise Shabazz Muhammad asks, how many states can a realtor be licensed to work in?
You can get your license in as many states as you like. We're only licensed in Florida because we have more than enough business right here in Florida. But you can be licensed in as many states as you like. One thing that we also do is that we refer clients to other states, back and forth to other states. So sometimes if you have someone moving from Pennsylvania or New York or anywhere else in the country and then moving to Florida, a realtor from that state will refer the client over here and vice versa.
Okay. Praise be to our Lord.
I'll add one thing to that too. You definitely want to work with a local realtor. So, you know, you want to know somebody that knows their backyards. I would never feel comfortable if somebody said, you know, could you sell me a piece of property in Pensacola? You know, I've never even been through that city. So what I would do is do the research and do some interviewing to find the proper person to refer you to.
Praise be to Allah.
So it's not, back to that question, you can have as many licenses as you would like, but as a buyer, I would not choose that realtor to represent me in my own backyard and you are states away.
Horror stories.
Yes.
Horror stories. I want to pose Brother Knell Bender's question. I pray Allah I am saying your name correctly. He asked, and this is way earlier, but it suffices, it should still be asked.
Okay.
When you say, if I'm reading this right, I'm just going to read it how I'm reading it. When you say us, so it's you. When you say us, are you referring to only the Nation of Islam? When we're speaking about us, are we referring to, or you all referring to members of the Nation of Islam in land ownership and home ownership?
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Absolutely not.
That's right. That's right.
When
Absolutely.
we talk about the nation, we're talking about the entire nation.
That's
That's
right.
right.
All the original people on the planet.
Absolutely.
Our nation.
And beyond. Hey, look,
Yeah.
you're talking about helping someone, home ownership, land and whatnot. I know you work with different people from
Different religions, different races, creeds, cultures.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a business. Absolutely. Praise be to Allah.
We would go out of business if we were just selling homes.
Yeah.
We go out of business.
Yeah. Somebody put they wanted to purchase real estate with cryptocurrency. Y'all know anything about that?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yes,
Praise be to Allah. What about food stamps? EBT, anything?
You go for me.
You can go that way?
For me,
You can't go there?
That's
No, you can't? Okay.
Yeah, for me.
That is a legitimate comedy joke.
Y'all, me. She said me.
I will tell you this for those that don't know. You do get a discount on Prime. If you didn't know, and Xfinity, just so you know, your sister should help you. I do want to go back to what the brother said, Brother Bender, because he was saying just us as the Nation of Islam. What do y'all have to say about when we are conjoining forces within our brother and sisterhood outside of the Nation of Islam? As we know, our family is our family, the whole Black diaspora, and beyond that. Within when I was speaking to you all about multifamily units and maybe purchasing, like y'all purchased the land together. If you, Brother Michael, J.H. Muhammad, can go into how y'all structured purchasing that land as a group. Did you do it under an LLC? Did you how did you go about purchasing land as a group for those who may want to start their own small little community, communes and whatnot? And then the same to you all with going into purchasing a multi-family unit. Would you structure it under an LLC or what may have you?
All right. The land in Arizona, because of the size of the families, 4 different families, I think what we did initially was, and Brother Michael and Sister Regina can help me if I'm a little off with my real estate schooling terminology, but I believe it was a joint tenancy that we did. We wanted to do it as a trust, but there was some initial issues with that, the timeline to get that done. So we went in as a joint venture, basically, where all 4 of us are on this deed together, and that allowed us the opportunity with a little bit greater ease to be able to separate the property once we decided to separate those properties into their own 4 different parcels. So we initially went in as basically like a joint venture between all of the families, not necessarily an LLC, but coming together. Brother Michael probably and Sister Regina could probably explain that a little bit better than I. My mind wasn't too much on the particulars. She told you about how I just did it. I literally looked back at the deed just the other day, and I said, man, because we now about to do the survey finally after some time, which will allow some things that I've been trying to get done with some others involved to happen. We're trying to get this property survey so that they can split the property into 4 different parcels so we can all have our own 43 acres apiece. And initially that was what we did, and we thought it was the best route. Brother Michael probably can help me out better on if that was a good thing to do or not. But that's what we did to get through the process. That's what we did.
I mean, what you did was beautiful, brother. I mean, you know, is the way you did it is good to do when you have people that are trustworthy, right?
Yes.
And obviously you had people that were trustworthy, that you had a relationship, you know, you usually need to do some sort of LLC or agreement, because it's when things go wrong, when there's disagreement, when you have to rely on that documentation.
That's right.
So praise be to Allah, nothing went wrong, right? Because sometimes people will hear one thing. Well, I'm supposed to get 50 acres. Nah, brother, we said I'm supposed to get. People hear different things, perceive different things. So most of the times you need to put that on paper, some kind of agreement, with an LLC and things of that nature, so that when people start forgetting, they can recall their memory back to the document.
That's right.
But the way you did it with the joint tendency is excellent. Joint venture, beautiful. Yeah. Let's talk after this, brother.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Is there not documentation within a joint venture?
There is, but you need another document that gets into all the what ifs, right? What if this happens? What we're gonna do? What if this happens, right? All the unpleasant things, right? That you might need to talk about. You need to iron that out in a separate document that the joint tendency may not go into that much detail.
So you would say yes, an LLC for if I were to join up with 2 other sisters and buy a 4-person unit, and we're renting out the 4th one.
I would say an LLC for tax purposes, right? But also you need some kind of document that spells out what if something happens, what if one of you loses income, or there's a whole bunch of what ifs that needs to be answered in advance.
Right.
Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
I'm gonna post another question from our listening audience. This question from Sister Denise. She say, "Thank you for such wonderful responses. For someone who may be interested in becoming a realtor, or what school will you recommend they study under?"
Good question.
So we went to 2 different schools. We have totally 2 different experiences. We both agree that never to take the accelerated 1-week program like I did. And then also know what kind of learning process are you? Are you a visual? Are you audio? Or are you kinetic, where you're hands-on? So both of us chose to do in-class courses rather than to do the online. Because the thing with online, yes, it's self-paced, but at the same time, we know people that have taken the real estate course over a year, because that's the length that you are allowed to do it, but then not successful on the state exam. Because how can you remember one whole year's worth of knowledge that you may have done, chapters 1 and 2 in January, and then here it is in December, you're trying to remember what happened in chapters 1 and 2. So it's best to get the knowledge as fast as possible, but not too fast to the point where you cannot absorb the knowledge. So I took the 1 week course, and when you're there the first day, you're already 6 chapters behind because they never gave us the study guides until the 4th day. And then you got another 6 chapters and so on and so forth for 7 days straight. So Brother Michael did the 2 week course, the 2 week
10
course, 10-day course, which was, you know, at a good pace. And I didn't feel confident enough that I knew the knowledge that I studied for an additional 3 months. And then I chose to do a refresher course where this course broke down what is needed in each one of these chapters. That really gave me the confidence to, you know, 3 months later, finally take the test. But I did pass it on the first time. Somebody else took it more than once, but.
I like a little
Man. Whoa. You can go online to wherever you're at, whatever city you are in the nation. You can go online and put in real estate license.
Yes,
and
sir.
There'll be a ton of different schools you can go to, whether that's in person or online, right? So you just want to go somewhere locally. The price for the course can range anywhere from $200 to $400, right? And the steps are: you take the course, right? After you take the course, my advice to you is to immediately take the state exam,
Yes.
right? Do not overstudy, okay? The course is made for you to pass the state exam. That is the goal. In Florida, you only need 70% in order to pass the state exam. You only need 77, right? So don't try to get 100. You only need 70%, right? Right? We don't. It's not necessary. You know, that's my advice for anyone that gets. Also, too, you know, the course and the exam only make you legally a real estate agent. It's a whole nother education process on how to get business, how to handle your business, how to get clients, how to read and negotiate contracts. Sometimes contracts are 40 and 50 pages long and have a lot of terminology. That's another learning experience, sort of like on the job or on the business learning experience.
Yes, sir.
And one of the ways to do that is that you have to get a good mentor, right? I tell all new realtors, get a good mentor, right? This is a tough business. It's not easy at all. And to come into it and just kind of winging it, most realtors are unsuccessful. Honestly, most realtors are unsuccessful, period. So you need a mentor in order to be successful. We got a mentor, and it was well worth it. We wouldn't have a successful business now without that. While I'm on that note, I wanted to let everybody know we all call Team Blessed Realtors, and we do have realtors, well, throughout the state of Florida. Right now, we have 13 realtors on our team. That include, shout out to Brother Lamar in St. Petersburg, Sister Elia in Miami, and also to one of our biggest business partners. His name is Keith Walker, one of our phenomenal realtors that some of you know. Our brother is struggling with kidney disease and was recently in the hospital. So, prayers going out to my brother. He's a phenomenal brother. But if you wanna get a home or sell a home, our number's on the screen. Also, if you want more advice about becoming a realtor, getting into the real estate business, you can also give us a call. Our number's on the bottom of the screen.
Yes. Praise be to Allah. This is so wonderful. Very, very informative. Everything that we've been talking about tonight. I mean, we got a double whammy, and from both couples, just beautiful inspiration and motivation for what you're all doing and showing that it can be done. So we're very, very thankful. We're 13 minutes away from the closing of our show. We would like to, if you don't mind, we want to give y'all some closing remarks. Any slides that you would like to show at this time, to show receipts, to show like, look, we ain't buy this, we ain't just talking about this. We really live this life. anything that you want to say in your closing remarks, we most definitely want to give it to y'all at this time. And we'll start with you, Brother Michael and Sister Anecqua. And Brother Michael, if you would, in your closing remarks, if you don't mind, I see a lot of time now, and also with your wife, if y'all could share on this, I see a lot of times now the mosque, it's a lot of the mosques are renovating, and it's a lot of study groups that eventually become mosques.
Yes.
How important is land ownership, even when we talk about within the nation, you know, that maybe you could build a mosque on? Is this something that's recommendable, or something that, you know, you think would be a great idea in doing so, than just maybe purchasing a spot or renting here and there, but maybe can buy the land and do something off it? What are y'all thoughts on that as y'all go into y'all closing remarks, if y'all don't mind, family?
Praise be to Allah. Beautiful question, because I have something to say to that for sure. You go ahead and start with that what you was going to say earlier is a good gateway. Yeah.
Okay, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the first thing I did want to say, from what my husband was speaking on earlier, as far as the desire to acquire land, like the first step is ultimately just removing the fear.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
That's the biggest thing that us as a Black community or Black people or individuals that we struggle with. It's the fear and that mindset that we can't, we cannot.
Right.
Even as far as one of the first questions that were asked, as far as us owning the land, you have to have that mindset that you want to own something, not that it's not for you to own. Whether you own something or not at the moment, that's neither here nor there. The point is, once you remove the fear about whether you have ownership or the ability to have ownership, that's the first hurdle.
Yes.
Because beyond that, you've already put yourself in a mindset to say, be and it is.
Yes.
That's our teachings.
Yes.
That's, you know, that's in the Bible.
That's right.
That's in the Holy Quran.
That's right.
So once you acquire that mindset, now you can acquire that which you desire, which is, if you desire land, that's what you can achieve. But the first hurdle is to remove the fear. And it's not saying that you don't have the fear. Like Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke on, you remember the story about him and the bull?
Yes.
And the bull. Yes, right?
Yes.
Of course a bull, of course you're gonna be afraid, right?
Right.
Come on.
Of course you're gonna be afraid. But what is the fear? What's a greater fear? The fear of if I turn around and I get gored
Right.
on the run.
COVID.
Right.
Or if I stand my ground, maybe.
Right.
Just maybe.
Right.
If Allah is with me, right?
That's right. Come on, sis. Transfer that fear.
This bull.
Right.
And I'm going to survive this.
That's right. Yes.
And that's what happened.
So that I just wanted to I wanted to say that, because all of what my husband has spoke of earlier, that's the main thing. When I say that he was the mind, and he said, you know, it was really me inspiring him and us pretty much sharing that energy and inspiration between one another.
Yes.
The biggest thing that I could have done and did do to allow us to produce and become what we are now and what we have and acquire what we have now is to remove the fear of what it is that I couldn't see.
That's right.
Initially.
That's right.
Right.
And my husband could see it for me. He could see it for us. And then in turn, eventually said, wow, this is what I wanted.
That's right.
Wow.
And beyond that, I really don't have anything else to add. I just really wanted to drive that in, that it's the fear, removing the fear, and understanding that once you go beyond that and you actually set it in your mind, be and it is, if it doesn't happen this year, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen ever.
Go ahead.
Come on.
You just have to keep going.
Keep going.
That's right.
Keep
That's
striving.
That's right.
right. Right.
We wouldn't have a nation now if the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did not continue to strive and work behind the scenes and do what he had to do to continue to pull up and rebuild this nation that we have. We would not be here.
That's right.
That's right.
Right.
So
That's right. Thank you.
that's all I wanted to leave.
Ah, that's beautiful.
y'all with.
Wow.
I ain't got nothing to say to that. Nothing. And she said it all.
Right.
Alhamdulillah.
I would just add to what she said because that is the closing remark.
Yes.
You asked about building, acquiring land and placing a place of worship on it.
Right.
That was the idea.
Mhm.
It was the legitimate idea. We said the first day we bought the property, it was the first morning. We looked out. Well, y'all don't see it. It was the patio door.
Right.
And I see her looking. I said, baby, I see the believers here. I don't know if it's for refuge or if it's for joy and fun or if it's a combination of the two, but we see them.
Mhm.
And that moment was it was Allah showing that thought had to be fulfilled. Couldn't
Right.
say that and say, well, the heck with the believers, though. I mean,
Yes, sir. Yes.
they trying to come here and stay too long. They got to, no.
Yeah.
We immediately tried to make this a center.
Right.
A center. And
Right.
the goal was to initially, I said, we can't go out there in that market right now and buy or rent anything because it was too expensive to try to find a place to worship in. I said, well, we'll do it right here. And maybe this house that we live in today will not be the house tomorrow.
Right.
So we started trying to do things of that aspect right here. We did the camping. We did survival training. We did mosque meetings here.
Wow.
Did things right on this property. And it was that in this property that really opened up the mind to go after a building.
Mm-hmm.
It was that mindset, like she said, to remove the fear. This property removed all of it because we saw God's miracle happen in our face.
Right.
And we just in the passenger seat like, wow, did you see what he did? Did you see that the seller just gave us a part of our down payment?
Right.
And the real estate agent?
Mhm.
We didn't have anything. We had it, but they were so invested in us getting it that the seller said, here's 5,000 towards that. Well, that knocked out 5,000. Then the real estate agent said this was such a process. She was so wanting us to get this, and she never seen two young people of color want farms in her years of doing this. So she said, I'll offer some money. Y'all gonna get this property.
Right.
And between the two of them, our down payment was like $6,000, $7,000. They took half of it off.
Mhm.
I saw God's miracle, and in that there was no need to fear anything. We said, now we got addicted. Let's see what else God can do. Absolutely right. Fear is what prevents us from the reward because we are afraid of the unknown. But in algebra, the unknown is a value. You have to discover it. It shows you there's a value because you see the end result, the equal. You have to go and plug in the teachings that you got in that class to that equation to understand what that value of that X or Y is. And this was an unknown at first, but now we see the value, and that value became a formula that we was able to take and use on anything.
That's right.
Anything. So
Praise be to
Allah.
Alhamdulillah.
That's all we have to say. Allahu
Akbar. We appreciate that. Beautiful, beautiful closing remarks, family. May Allah continue to bless you both. And we look for part 2 to hear as the journey continue. Praise be to Allah.
Brother Chad, I do have a question that I would like to pose to Sister Regina and Brother Michael as they give their closing remarks.
Come on.
I have to say that last year, November, I thought I was going to be a realtor, real estate agent. I messed around and paid for the course, did a week of it by myself online. But and the thought process was literally, I was like, well, I know I'm going to acquire land. I want to just be able to do it myself. Like I was going to be a lawyer just so I can represent myself as an actress. Don't really need to do everything, Mariam. So I wanted you all to touch on, again, the importance of having a realtor, but knowing that you don't have to try to go get your license to be the realtor just because you want to go buy a house.
Right.
Yes,
No.
right.
Just because you have
I didn't finish the course.
two things there. Just because you have a license doesn't mean that you have the knowledge to do that transaction.
Go ahead.
That's one thing. Because let me tell you, if I didn't have the mentorship that I had, do you think I would have gotten my charge nurse that house, not knowing that there was a USDA loan? I was a brand new realtor.
Wow.
So the second thing is you can look into the school that you paid for, because I know one specific school down here that I went to. If you were unsuccessful to do the course online, they gave you the opportunity to take that money and put it towards a credit to do an in-person course. So you can reach out to the school to see, because it's within a year. It's November now. If it's still within that year, maybe you can go back and see, I was unsuccessful because I had to work or have, take care of the family. Can I take this course in person or give me the credit?
Come on.
Thank you. Praise be to Allah. You can finish your closing remarks. Absolutely.
Yeah, I wanted to, on continuation on fear.
That's right, brother.
It is a major impediment.
Yes.
Major impediment to us having our own. And one way to remove it is the testimony of those of us that have done it, right?
That's right.
That helps remove some of the unknown. Also, getting those that are qualified to help us through the process. It removes the fear, right? Right. And especially when we know someone who could lay the whole process out for you, right? You can see the actual footsteps, and now you just have to walk through it.
That's right.
Yes.
Right now, currently in the market, and I just want to inspire those of us that are not homeowners, not landowners, right? Remember, when you say home, it already means land, right? A home sits on land.
Go ahead.
That we understand that prices are high across the nation, right? But that's not a reason for you to sit on the fence and not go out and get and talk about, hey, I'm gonna wait for the market to drop. You know how many people I know been waiting 10 years for the market to drop? You know what I mean? Right? Listen, no one knows the market tomorrow, right?
That's right.
No one knows the market. No one thought that in the middle of COVID that prices would skyrocket the way they did.
That's right.
I thought the market would plummet, right? But we don't know that. But we do know this now. Right now, you're paying 100% interest.
That's right. Go ahead, brother Mike.
And buying a home, even at a higher price, is still better than renting, right? You have to get started. You have to go out and get that first piece of land, that first home.
That's right.
And then lastly, what I wanted to do was show some receipts. I wanted to show a couple of people, hopefully inspire us to go out there and don't wait. I hear people, well, I got a 2-year plan. I got a 1-year plan, right? How you making a plan on a process you don't even know, right? Like, like get advice, seek advice, right?
Yes.
Okay. And do it right away. Stop procrastinating.
That's right.
So okay, I'm trying to put this up.
There you go. I see. Right.
This is our sister. All right. I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of delay.
There you go. It's up now. There you go.
Right. So this is Sister Shantae. Sister Shantae bought her house. We helped her out maybe a year and a half ago. I think it was right before COVID.
No, it was during.
Yeah. So it was in the middle of COVID. Single mom, and able to buy this beautiful townhouse in Plant City. That townhouse now is probably easily worth other $70,000 more than she easily bought her first home. This is actually Brother Chad's nephew, Brother Jermaine. They brought a brand new house.
Wow, DR Horton, that's great.
And they went from
for free.
with like no, it was a VA loan, so no, basically no money down. I was able to get a beautiful corner lot, and they have a family, I believe 4 or 5, and so they got into their new home. By the way, this same block that he's on, we helped about 4 other families on the same block. We told the builder, you name the block in Bless Boulevard, because we done put half the houses on it.
Go ahead. Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Minister James Muhammad and lovely wife.
Wow.
I call her Auntie, Sister Joanne. We helped them get into their home maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Beautiful.
At the age of 70 plus years, student minister James Muhammad, this is his first home, right?
Wow.
So it's never it's never too late. It's never too late. This is their first beautiful home.
Is that a 3-car garage split type thing?
It looks like it.
Yes.
Woo!
Yes.
Gosh.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. That 3-car garage is something different. All right. You own a house. You know what I'm talking about. A 3-car garage is something special.
Brother Michael and Sister Mariam, this is why you pay us so much. You see, this is why our paycheck look like how it looks.
Don't say that too loud. Wow.
All right. A couple of other folks that we helped. This couple right here, Jansen and Monica. This is in the middle of COVID. We actually did the closing in their vehicle. The title company had to do it in their vehicle. They weren't allowing people into the actual building to do the closing.
Wow.
But on the right hand side, what's her name again?
That's Heather, one of the nurses.
Heather is one of Regina's co-workers from nursing. We helped her and her fiance get a home, and I think she later on got her real estate license, like shortly after that herself.
Wow.
To go back to Jansit though, this is another success story. They were neighbors of ours, and we were driving by their block, and they had a U-Haul, and we said, we help you find your next home. And they said, no, well, actually, we're about to get foreclosed on. And Brother Michael was like, well, let me look at your paperwork and see if we can somehow help you out. We still may be able to save your credit and maybe just short sale the home. So we actually ended up short selling their home, helping them with their credit. They stayed renters for maybe a year or 2, ended up purchasing when their credit was so. That's just like another success story that, the backdrop of that couple.
Wow. Beautiful. All right.
Go ahead.
So
That is amazing.
this brother up here, that's again, brother.
Bro.
Oh goodness.
Me too. I'm trying to remember.
Abdullah, brother.
Yes.
Brother. Some been around for, and then we have Sister Justine and brother William. They live in a beautiful lagoon community in Wesley Chapel area, north of Tampa. Help them get their beautiful home there as well. And then here's in Miami, Brother Hinton and Sister Renata. We're also having the picture of one of the realtors on our team. This is Sister Elia with the pink hat on, I think that is. She's in Miami. Sister Aliyah, one of our partners in Team Bless.
Wow.
And then lastly, some other friends of hers. The one I wanted to get to.
Wow.
Another young family.
That's the closing table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I mean, mom had here helped the young family get into the house. They brought their children ownership. We see some to
Brother Tony.
Yes.
Anybody know this brother?
Yeah.
Tony
Muhammad.
Brother Tony.
Brother Tony. Shout out to Brother Tony. Brother Tony used to own a condo in Miami area. I actually flew out to Miami, helped him stage the home. He was actually given an offer for, I believe, around $85,000. That offer, and was for we were able to for $145,000 instead.
Multiple offers.
Wow.
So shout out to Brother Tony.
Realtors for you.
I know you watching, brother.
Yeah.
$60,000.
It's like that picture in the middle is like
Man.
They traveled from Memphis
Right.
into Tampa, and we helped him. And they came here. Picture. And there's hundreds more. You can get, in Hillsborough County, which is the county that we're in, Tampa, between 700 and 800 people a day either buy or sell a home. You can too.
Wow.
Praise be to Allah.
Wow. Praise be to Allah.
Beautiful, beautiful family. We thank you, Brother Michael.
Per day. That's
Yes. Praise be to Allah. We thank you, Brother Michael, Sister Regina. Your connection was kind of fading a little bit, but we got most of it. It got the point across. We thank you for the photos, which was very inspiring on both of your behalf. We pray that Allah continue just to bless y'all, as inspiration and motivation for our nation and beyond. And, one of the things I take from the hard work that y'all have been doing is just y'all are fruitful and multiplying with it. I hear the stories of Brother Michael J. and his wife about how other families y'all work with, in unity to acquire land. The same is with Team Bless, all the different realtors that you have that, it's like it's a teamwork making the dream work, and you just, becoming a powerhouse. May Allah continue to bless you all to do that. We appreciate you being on the show. It's a very honor for y'all to be on the show for us. It was our honor. I want to extend the greetings again from Student Minister James to y'all. Assalamu alaikum. I know he's very happy, with the show and how it's been going and the work that y'all have displayed tonight. And also on behalf of Sister Starla, assalamu alaikum also, family.
Alaikum salam.
Praise be to Allah. We're going to get into, I know we went a little over. It was so fun. We just getting done.